We hit the button. We are live, and my email is already going on because we're doing this live from the Breeze Thru Beer Cave. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovies. It's live from the Breeze Thru Beer Cave. Why am I getting a double? Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I know what's going on. My bad. I'm Joe Ovies. I have
Facebook or
no, I had the YouTube up, so I'm a complete dumbass when it comes to this sort of thing. Anyway, apologies. So let's go ahead and start.
At least you fixed it.
You want to start?
It would take me like 25 minutes to figure that out.
You want to go ahead and start this over?
No.
We'll do it live.
There's no mulligans.
So we're gonna do a mulligan.
There's no mulligans in the OG Golf Classic.
Here we go. I bought one actually. I just bought a mulligan.
A throw.
Let's podcast. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovies. We are not inside the Eford Studios, but always thanks
Big
to
shouts.
Empire Properties.
Yes.
We're actually at the Breeze Thru Beer Cave across the street from PNC Arena. It's a big night, opening night, Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to talk to Rod Brind'Amour, although we actually already talked to Rod Brind'Amour. There could be a Tom Dundon appearance. You spotted a car earlier today.
You never know what's going to happen on the OG.
Hey, man, what happens in the Beer Cave gets broadcast on YouTube.
It does.
That's what happens on the Beer Cave. Regardless, we could have an appearance from Tom Dundon. Also, Luke DeCock, News and Observer, is going to drop on by to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes and this upcoming season, which actually, Joe, before we even talk about this, the reason why we're at the
I was going to say, give Adam some love, man.
The reason why
give him
we're
a little love.
The reason why we're at the Breeze Thru, we're going to talk to Adam a little bit later on, is that the freeze crew is in effect. So if you are part of the fan base that gets selected to ride the Olympia, you will get one of these T-shirts.
Breeze Thru Freeze Crew.
And you will also get
the blanket?
The blanket.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure the blanket is part of the deal, but we'll talk to Adam about that. I might steal one of these blankets for hockey, man.
For sure.
I don't know people will argue which is the coldest rink in the Triangle.
Oh, the Iceplex, no?
The Iceplex is usually viewed as the coldest rink in the Triangle, although shout out to Tom, Mr. Work Rate on Twitter, who likes to point out to me that Garner's not insulated.
Yeah.
So once you get into the winter months, it's cold on top of cold.
Got you.
And it gets kind of dicey there with how cold
I feel like we
is.
definitely need to do the show from the G.
All right.
We got Shady's over there. We got Graphics House over there. We got Josh Whitaker over there.
I'm ready for it.
We got
man.
people over there.
I'm ready to do it.
Matt Davis, State Farm Insurance is over there in Garner.
Yeah.
Barry Woodard's got Hometown Realty literally right across the street there from the G Ice House.
I've heard we're big in Garner, man.
We're huge.
I heard we're big in Garner.
Not as big as we are right here, ready for the season opener. The Canes taking on the Senators tonight. And I cannot believe I've lived long enough to see that the former Hartford Whalers are the betting favorite to win the Stanley Cup.
This is important distinction.
It does mean something besides my nonsense. I would say that.
It does. And I think it ties into what I had jotted down for the start of this season as well, as it relates to the window and the window for the Carolina Hurricanes to win a Stanley Cup. But let's start with this odds-on favorite. I think sometimes we throw that stuff around without understanding what it means and how odds lines are affected by the public.
Yes.
So for my novice brain, I always understand that the public still thinks that Tiger Woods can win a major even though he's literally broken.
Right.
I understand that the public fandom thinks that the Dallas Cowboys are going to pull through and finally win a Super Bowl because that's what Dallas Cowboys fans do. When you look at college, of course, people are going to vote for
Carolina,
Duke.
Kentucky.
Of course, they're going to vote for Duke, the Blue Bloods, and everything else. Explain to me how for the Carolina Hurricanes to be a preseason odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup. I'm literally wearing the hoodie from Breaking Tea that started as a joke because everybody's convinced that nobody cares about the Carolina Hurricanes, that them winning
not true.
Is bad for ratings because they're not a big market team, and that's ultimately what ESPN and the like wants.
There is some Virginia basketball energy to the way that they play. I will say that.
That's a little fair. That's a little fair.
What this says,
so what is this?
Yeah, what this says, though, is there's a couple of things, right? Number one, there's not a LeBron James. There's not a New York Yankees franchise in hockey anymore. So the public money has to go somewhere. Normally, you'd say, well, Sidney Crosby, or if you look at the Oilers in their odds, which I think are 11-1.
Sure.
If they didn't have Connor McDavid, and I get it, you take their best player off there.
Didn't we just have this conversation?
But the public knows
YouTube?
who he is.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like their true odds are probably closer to like 20 to 30-1.
Mm-hmm.
But since they have Connor McDavid, it's 11-1. They have no defense. They play no defense. They have no goalie. They don't have great chance of winning the actual Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
But the public is going to look and go, oh, there's the MVP of the league. Here's the guy who scores the most goals. Here's the most recognizable player in the league. We're going to take him. The Toronto Maple Leafs would be the closest to that, given the superstars they have at the top end of their forward group. But the truth of the matter is, if you're the Canes and you have no public backing, this is purely a math equation by the odds makers. They're looking at what the Canes did last year, which, remember, was a really good season, but in the regular season, but it was overshadowed by the fact that the Boston Bruins set an NHL record for points.
And we talked to Tom Dundon, owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, about that in the summer. And the idea of the window. And he talked about how good this team has been. I think he did make a point, I'm paraphrasing here, and you reminded me of this, that essentially he's like, yeah, had it not been for Boston going on this all-time heater, we would be.
People would have looked at our season and said, wow, this team is really good. And that's what the odds makers are doing here. Mm-hmm. They're looking at what they did last year and saying, this is a good team. And they're looking at what they did in the offseason. They didn't lose anyone of significance. In fact, they've only added parts to that. Now, we won't see Andrei Svechnikov. You and I talked to Rod Brind'Amour yesterday. We were all three of us were like,
it's okay.
Make sure he's healthy in June.
Yes.
My goodness, it's October. And what his response was, because I don't think we got it on camera, his response was, hey, a couple of years ago, he would have said, I'm playing. Doesn't matter. He's that big of a competitor. Svech would want to be out there. Mm-hmm. He's like, now he at least has said to us, hey, I don't feel 100%. And then you can keep him out. And he probably won't play on the road trip. But it was almost like, you have to understand what this season is about. That's why you bought Coach K over there. You're trying to have him pump up your guys and explain to them, this thing is open for you to walk through. This is your opportunity.
But that opportunity, and I might tie this into the Baltimore Orioles, right?
Voodoo is still in play, my friend.
The playoffs are a random chaos generator, man. They always have been. And the more teams you add to the postseason, which I understand why Major League Baseball wants to do these things, because it means ratings, it means more excitement, it means more cities that are interested in the most crucial time of the year in October. You can have these kinds of seasons, you can have these kinds of runs, but you might run into the hot goalie or you end up getting hurt. And that's the thing about the Carolina Hurricanes that makes the preseason conversation around them difficult. And I kind of I referenced this a good bit of last year. We won't know the moves that the Carolina Hurricanes made in the offseason would pay off or not until we got to the playoffs. Everything that happened in the regular season is what you expect out of the Carolina Hurricanes under Rod Brind'Amour in the regular season. They play one way and one way only. And
no matter who's in the lineup, quite frankly.
Then they turn the switch on and they don't turn it off until they're literally sent home from the playoffs. And everything is based on playing to a particular level, win or lose. Because remember, and we'll hear this again a lot this season from Rod Brind'Amour,
always,
they'll win a game and he'll not be happy with how they played. They were fortunate to win. They'll lose a game, but he'll be happy with the way that they played because they played at the level he wanted.
Rod's a process guy.
All about the process. And the process has proven itself to be really successful in the regular season. But the moves would only come to fruition in the postseason. That's when we would know if doubling down on certain guys or the goaltending tandem that you had was going to work out or not. But here's the tricky part about the Carolina Hurricanes. We still don't know if last year paid off because they got hurt.
Well, yeah.
Because they got hurt.
The injury to Pacioretty, the injury to Svechnikov.
And the Svechnikov injury occurs right after the trade deadline, so we don't know how the Carolina Hurricanes might have altered things.
Well, they hung on to Seth Jarvis, which we're all in agreement was a good thing, was a smart move. I think the one thing they learned last year, which was really important and was my biggest question for this team, was Freddie Anderson good enough to help them win the Stanley Cup? He doesn't need to be Andrei Vasilevsky. No. He doesn't need to win the Stanley Cup for them. But Colorado style the previous year, you have built such speed and skill in your forward and your defense. And their defense is still criminally underrated. And they've added a hammer in Orlov. Like they've added a legit like if we were playing NHL 94, they just traded for Chris Chelios.
Right.
You know, like they just added a 90-something.
Sure.
Right. To a team that didn't need a 90-something defenseman.
Yeah, it's copious amounts of defensemen where the fact that Jalen Chatfield's your 7th guy, and there's some debate as to whether or not he's going to play. Of course he's going to play tonight because that's what the Carolina Hurricanes are about. So Chatfield's your 7th guy, and that's a great luxury to have.
But I think the most important thing to take away from the playoffs last year was how good Freddie was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he gave you a lot of confidence. It just so happened that Bobrovsky was better.
Yeah.
It just so happened. And to your point about voodoo and a chaos generator, you cannot predict that. And it'll be interesting to see what baseball does. I suspect baseball will change that wild card round or the division round. They'll change the division round to the best of 7. That will be their response. I can almost bet you $1 to donuts. That's what they will do.
Maybe. I don't know.
As any sport, the only sport that doesn't care who's actually there is the NCAA tournament, which is obviously the tournament that most of America loves to gamble on and enjoys watching. But the only sport that's the only one that doesn't want to see its best teams in the end. I think all of these professional leagues want their best teams to be there in the end, because you do get the sense when the Panthers get run out by the Vegas Golden Knights last year, you're like, well, how the hell did this team get there? And Boston, who sets an NHL record, loses. And the Canes, who are, second most points in the NHL right behind them, they get eliminated by the same team. And then you have a finals that kind of fizzled out. But it'll be interesting. Michael Bunting is a guy I'm looking at tonight.
Yeah.
Want to see what he brings. Lemieux is another guy I want to see what he brings. I think we've all been in agreement that they're here for very specific reasons. Our conversations with Seth Jarvis, our conversations with Sebastian Aho lead me to believe, though, that Michael Bunting's got a whole lot more skill than people are giving him credit for.
Yes.
Because of who he played with in Toronto.
I think, again, that's another testament to what Rod Brind'Amour has been able to build here with the Hurricanes, and we'll see what elevation of game he can have. And that, as I was jotting down notes earlier today about this upcoming season, and every preview is going to basically give you the same kind of stuff. It's a run-it-back group. They added guys like Bunting. They added, obviously, Orlov, as you said, this hammer that they can add to an already great defensive core. And it's the best defensive group in the NHL. It continues to be that.
But they don't get credit for that because of the goaltending situation.
Brett Pesce is going to be a luxury that they might keep the entire season, or depending on what the Hurricanes might need at the trade deadline, could be a chip. I don't know. These are things that we can talk about as the season progresses.
Falk energy to me.
However,
let it roll out.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. The forward group needs to elevate from guys that we already know, right? We need to have back-to-back great seasons from Marty Necas.
Yeah.
We need to see Jesperi Kotkaniemi take his game to another level.
Step.
The bet that they made on him with the Montreal
offer,
which he
did for the most part last season, he took another step.
And
not the step that Necas took.
And then there are things that are absolutely, well, and by the way, Teravainen also needs to not have the kind of season he had last year. But ultimately, I think those things play themselves out. They work themselves out. It's the intangible about this team that is the big question mark, and it's completely out of their control, and that's what makes the whole entire thing a problem. You can come in. No, come in. It's a beer cave. Adam, tell him to come in. It's fine. If he needs his beer, get his beer. We're literally in the beer cave. So if somebody needs to come in and grab a beer,
somebody wants beer,
it's totally cool. I'm totally okay with that. To wrap my point, while somebody wanted to come in and grab some beer.
No one else is doing this. Come on. Come on, life coach. I'm looking at you, man. Come on.
No, so
this ain't Cafe Luna, life coach. Come on.
So to wrap my point on this, the biggest frustration point with the Carolina Hurricanes is that what ultimately will decide their season is out of their control. You can't guarantee health.
It almost always is.
You can't guarantee health.
It almost always is.
And they've had a bad run of that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I'm not bringing this up as some sort of self-medication of had they just kept X, Y, because every team deals with injuries.
Sure.
Hockey is a classic sport where you come to find out that this
Kevin
player
Adams had a broken wrist.
Right.
Wesley broke his fibula.
He's like, by the way, their leg was literally hanging on by a tendon.
Yes.
And yet they still managed to
Justin
score.
Williams
right?
played the playoffs with a torn ACL.
Yes. But all you got to do is go forward. All you got to do is go forward and backward. You don't have to go side to side.
It's a real thing.
So your ACL's good, man. It's all good. These things, I get it. In hockey, you play through it. It's an upper body injury, and they could be decapitated. It will be referred to as an upper body injury.
Yes.
But you can't have an honest conversation about the Carolina Hurricanes without pointing out that key guys they expect to step up, that young core group like Andrei Svechnikov or what they added in Max Pacioretty were not there. I'm not trying to absolve Sebastian Aho.
No.
I'm not trying to absolve other players like Marty Nate.
But
I'm
Aho
just saying they don't
is
have
who he
it.
is. Like, you should not expect Sebastian Aho to score 50 goals in a year. Like, I get that he's their highest paid player, but he's a different type of player. He's certainly developed into a two-way player as well.
We're going to bring you that conversation with Rod Brind'Amour, head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, here in just a little bit.
Housekeeping.
But we need to give you a little housekeeping. Shout out to Copiers Plus, by the way. We were thanking everybody.
Drew.
But we got to make sure that we thank Copiers
Drew's
Plus.
so good.
He's the man. Absolutely the man.
And you know why?
Why is that?
Because we don't know what we don't know. I'm over here literally like texting our people, hey, can I do this? So I don't know.
Like scratch off tickets?
So we need Drew. And you need Copiers Plus. Go to copiers-plus.com. Get all your digital and print solutions. Stop wasting money.
Yeah.
Help yourself. Help your company. All you got to do is ask for help. That's what Copiers Plus is for.
You mentioned Barry earlier. Thanks to Hometown Realty. Speaking of things that are dead simple, the website's dead simple. Go to myhtr.com where you can buy, you can sell. There's a mortgage calculator. And most importantly, when it comes to this area, what do we keep hearing about in the news? How this is a hot area. Homes are going for incredible prices. So why would you take some sort of guaranteed offer that is coming below market value? Don't do that. Don't sell yourself short. Go with HTR.
No, you want to talk about expertise? 20 years. Barry Woodard, Hometown Realty, from Raleigh to the coast. 6 locations, more than 250 agents. Seriously, go to the website, myhtr.com.
Also, big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. You double checked with, there's Tom. Well, I'm glad we're doing these things live so we can have Tom Dundon just roll up.
Perfect.
Live. It's live, folks. It's live. So tell you what, here's what we're going to do, Joe.
Okay.
Take your camera and
it.
have him. There he is. Yeah. There's Tom. So have that turned around. I will hand Tom this microphone. And here we go. Anyway, so we'll just vamp here as we're going. Hi, Tom. You've never done a radio interview from a beer cave, have you? Yeah. But hey, this is this is what we do. This is what we do.
You like our backdrop?
Perfect,
right? That's your new sponsor this year.
Yeah, they're doing Olympia stuff.
Freeze crew.
Nice.
Yeah. So you'll see this stuff.
We're taking care of you.
Oh, right.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sit back. I was gonna say you're right up on the camera. Anyway, thanks for dropping by.
You like my sleuthing techniques, don't you?
Yeah. What's that? You mean that I was across the street?
Yeah.
Was that your car?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There was a cone.
It's not my car. It's a
rental.
Yeah,
right. Okay, that's what I thought.
But there was a cone, and it was right next to the door, and I'm like,
smart guy.
Oh, give me some credit.
So let's hold on, Joe. Let me get you in the shot here, so you don't have to again, live YouTube, folks. So this is how we roll. All right, let's actually start with something you told us back at the Stadium Series, something that you told us again in the summertime when we chatted with you. Windows. This is a window you don't feel is closing. This is yet another kind of year you expect to be here. You make the adjustments as needed. So what was it about this offseason, though, that didn't really have you, I think you said, run it back? I think that's the term that you used. You liked your group. You wanted to have another go at it. And for the most part, that's what you had this season.
Yeah, I think what we talk about or what we think about every day is from where we started, you had to get better to compete. And when you're not as good, it's not as hard to get better. And now we're at a point where whatever we do, the probability of improving is much smaller than the probability of getting worse. And so if you're one of the best teams, you just have to be a little more careful, not doing something because you're frustrated that you lost and doing it because you actually increase your odds to win. So
as we've discovered, you're not a gambler, but maybe you've noticed that you are the preseason favorite to win the Stanley Cup. Does any of that register with you? Because it does feel like it's not just some random publication picking you. These are the guys who actually have a number for you and understand the success that you actually had during the regular season last year.
Yep. So we run those odds ourselves.
You
do? Right.
Okay.
And so there's obviously a variation between models, but we're aware of our odds.
Okay.
And so we've had pretty good odds for a while, right? That first year, we probably were a little fortunate to win a playoff round. And since then, I'd say we've been unfortunate not to go further.
So why do you run the odds? If you don't, I'm not saying you would gamble, but
Yeah.
you like to know what position you're in. Is that the basic premise of it?
Yeah. So the odds it's the cumulative impact of all your players. So
Okay.
you're looking at individual players' positions, what you pay them, and then what are your options to get better. So, and that gives you how many points you're going to get for the year. And then based on those points, you know your odds of what position you're going to finish based on history
Okay.
and compare it to other teams. And so the odds is just the output of the things you do to have the pieces to understand which players on your team or other teams have value.
Are you buying an AHL team?
We are working on a solution. One of the choices is buying a team. Another is getting another affiliate. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Although you've now gone through, I think if I have my timeline correct, you've gone through 2 AHL affiliates, the Charlotte Checkers and then the Wolves. And there's a push and pull between what you want and what you're trying to develop and what you're trying to win at this level and what the AHL affiliates want. I'm of the camp of your role as an AHL affiliate is to develop so that the NHL parent club has the guys that they need. But you've run into some of that friction. Isn't buying a team the easiest way to go about it?
It could be. I think that friction is mostly unique to the one situation we just got out of.
Okay.
I think most people understand why we're there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we won the championship twice.
Right. The Calder Cup, right?
It's not, yes. I mean, it's like, I don't do anything not to win.
Of course.
There's the balance of how do you get players who are improving rapidly versus giving up on someone.
Okay.
Right? Steven Lorentz was in the ECHL before he was in the NHL a year and a half later.
Mm-hmm.
And that meant somebody down there was saying this person can't play.
Mm-hmm.
Can't play better than 24 people that most of them will never play in the league. So it's not a perfect science. But we were always pretty careful about not putting people in a position to fail.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be fair if I'm terrible and you two are pretty good and I keep being played, that's not fair to you either.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always looking for that balance. And I don't think that ever changed. I think the perception of what we were looking for probably changed.
Gotcha.
You have an idea where you would put that team?
No.
Okay.
I think we're working hard on making sure next year we have a solution, but I'm not as worried about wanting to win or not wanting to win. I mean, that's not hard.
So what conversations have you had with Don and Rod about how there's some roster math you got to
Little
work
bit of
out this
scattered,
year,
right?
So how does that work out for you guys?
Look, I feel sorry for the kids that have uncertainty or maybe aren't in the position they want to be in. And the great thing about most of these players is they all think they should be here, right?
Mhm.
They all have the confidence that, you know, if I were somebody else or if I were somewhere else or someone liked me more or whatever, right? So there's not a lot of players that are playing not in the NHL that think you're right or think the team got it right, right? They all think they should be here. And so to be further away than the AHL, whether that's in Europe or the ECHL, mentally is probably hard for some of these players. And I have a lot of empathy for that. I hate that. And I wish we weren't going through it. I don't have a solution for it.
Rod yesterday talked about Kochetkov and that he's clearly good enough to play at this level, but you also have understandably doubled down with Freddie Anderson and Antti Raanta. So how do you balance? I think last year the math worked out that they all kind of played a third of the season. Is that something that you go into this year ahead of time planning? How do you work that out with Kochetkov and just making sure he still plays at that level?
Look, I think for goalies, the way I understand it is, what do I know about this? The way I'm being told is for a goalie, it's not a huge difference. Right?
Okay.
And so AHL is fine. Now he'd rather be in the NHL like everybody. The worry is if someone gets hurt or if someone doesn't perform. So we're buying ourselves an insurance policy by signing all three. But I think, of course, if somebody's not performing, they're less likely to be given more rope, given we have him. And if someone gets hurt, it's less likely to impact our ability to win because we have him. So, but I don't think we go into it with who plays how much, because tell me who's going to get hurt and who's going to play good.
Yeah, you don't know. Right.
Yeah. If it goes great, he won't play a single game, but I think that's highly unlikely. And I think the plan, the most likely outcome is he plays quite a few games.
Your time to make moves is the off season. You made some pretty smart additions.
Yeah.
Which ones are you looking forward to seeing tonight as we begin this 82 game journey?
It's funny because the big one for me is like Tavo, because I think he's way better than he's been and he was, and he was hurt and who knows why, right?
Sure.
So like I'm probably most excited about him. I think it's Bunting's 27, 28. It's obvious what he is, what he can do. He's clearly talented, and Orlov same thing. It's like you kind of know the reason we got him, but the big difference is for us, I think. If Tavo or Jarvis and Natchez, if some of those people who have another level, and then getting Andre playing again because it's killing the kid not to play.
But
I'm more worried about that stuff.
I was going to say, and this is a conversation we had with Rod yesterday as well. We'll present that conversation a little bit. This is all live, so Tom hanging out was all part of the live. But you don't need to play him right now. Just let him get 100%. Right? That's got to be the move.
Look, like he could have played in the playoffs last year without an ACL with a brace, but if something went wrong, and I'll never do that. And just like now, I won't make a decision because it makes us feel better for a day or two that long-term isn't best for the organization and the kid. The kid would play, as you can imagine. I assume he would.
He absolutely.
But I'm not a doctor, right? What do I know? For me, it's just black and white. When it is 100%, it's not getting any better. If we wait, then you play.
What were your off-season conversations like with Tavo? Because it's a different situation. His guy is Aho. He got a contract. Tavo's in that contract year. These are things that you have to balance. So, what were your some of your conversations like with him? Because it's interesting. That's the first player that you mentioned. That's why you think different, and you have a lot of money in your bank account, and I'm just a schlub over here doing a podcast from a beer cave.
I think the truth is, he was here when I got here, and I like him.
Yeah,
and I root for him, and I know how talented he is. And if you look at people whose performance don't match their talent, the last year or two, he's number one on the list.
Yeah,
but it's different when they don't have the talent. So it's really on us, right? Working together, what is it injury wise, mentally, putting him in certain situations. So for me, I don't have a lot to do with all those things. I could just, it sounds a little corny, but I could just be a friend to him. Just like if you were having a hard time, because I don't decide who plays or where they play or whatever. I just am aware that there's something that didn't go right. And it happens in life, right? It happens to everybody, not just hockey players. Just when it happens to him, we all know about it statistically. And so I don't know. It's both for the good of the team, and also you've been around him. He's just a good soul, and I want him to do good.
I have two more questions before we let you go. And again, appreciate the time for hanging out with us in a beer cave.
And I feel like Oprah. You don't drink, do you?
I do.
Oh, you
do
a
lot.
Well, you pick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Adam's going to care.
No, what's on us? It's on the
OG.
You pick one and you go tailgate across the street.
I'm a champagne and beer guy, but we got Storm Brew here.
You got to have Storm Brew.
The Storm Brew is literally behind us.
It's right here. I see it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's hardly any left.
Look at that large right there. That's for you.
Yeah, we'll grab a shirt before we get out of here. All right.
Looks my color.
Two quick things. Based on ownership. Your reaction to the reaction of your interest in Major League Baseball. Yes. So you're just kind of in an exploratory phase right now, right?
Yeah, I think Raleigh is in a position, if we do it right, to have a real chance at this.
Okay.
It takes a lot of people and a lot of work. And one, they got to want to expand, which you think they do, but I don't know.
They say they do, but the market seems they have it in their mind.
Makes sense. Math and scheduling wise, it makes sense for them to go 32.
If they expand, I think we can put ourselves in a position that makes it very attractive to choose Carolina.
Okay. And we're talking North Carolina. You say Carolina.
I believe the right way to do this is to go through a process to give us the best chance in Carolina.
Gotcha.
That might be in Raleigh. It might be in Charlotte. I don't know. But I think the role is we all work together with fans, sponsors, corporates, the government, and find out how we put our best foot forward. And whatever that is what I think we should do.
Okay.
And the less anyone has any biases, and the more we just go for the best package.
Okay.
And I don't know what that is, so it's hard for me to say. I just know I know the only thing I'm interested in is it being in Carolina, and I prefer it to be in Raleigh because that's where we are. But I wouldn't do anything that wasn't in the best interest of giving us the best chance.
$2 billion expansion fee, not a concern, or whatever.
Not a concern.
Yeah.
Like
you can get the money together.
Yeah. We'll be able.
Yeah.
That won't be the hardest thing we face.
I was gonna say, you told me a long time. You told me in gold.
There's a lot of pronouns in there, though.
You told me in gold a long time.
And then you
ago.
also included Charlotte, which makes me.
No, but I get it.
No, I just don't want to.
No.
Who do I know?
Yeah.
No.
Is there a Tepper in the background?
I like Dave, but I mean, I think my guess is if we're doing something, Dave would try to help. I don't think this is a thing for him, but
okay. Which gets to my last question, and ownership and philosophy. Dave's kind of going through it right now with the Panthers at 0-5, and people point out that he's very hands-on, but you're also kind of hands-on. So what is your philosophy with, because you've made this reference a lot, what do I know? The impression that I get is that you're hands-on, but you're going to let the hockey people do the hockey things. You just want to be in the loop. What's your philosophy with that?
I always want to make sure, and you guys know Rod, so you probably talked about it. I want to make sure that whatever you think is right, we've thought through all the other choices. No different than where should we put a baseball team. I think I know, but I can't be sure until we do the work.
Gotcha.
And so that's what I try to do is just everybody has what they believe, what's easy to just, I want to do this because it makes sense to me. And I try to just make sure everybody looks at every option and not the easiest option, even though the easiest option is usually your first instinct and what's easy works a lot. And so I am knowledgeable enough to come up with a reason to do it another way.
Okay.
But hopefully I'm not so prideful that I would think just because I came up with another option, that's what you should do. Right. Okay. And so our group's really good at everybody talking about it and going through it and getting to a decision. And mostly because we have a coach who doesn't need to be right either. Right. But if you're asking a hockey question, you can ask me or him.
I'm going to ask Rod.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to argue with Rod about it. But ultimately,
if you have
he's smarter than me.
If you have a golf question, are you asking Justin Williams or somebody else?
Exactly.
On your phone.
Yes.
Who are you asking for that for golf?
Him. I got a bunch of people on my phone. I've had to adjust it.
I'm already hitting up your people in Durham, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you keep stealing sponsors from me.
Oh,
no.
Gee, come on now.
Can't get it open.
You got to
get
back.
What are they doing over there?
Oh, well, we got to get that going. I need you guys.
Well, we're trying. Right? The way I understand, it's been a difficult process.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
I'm ready. You tell them.
But we're ready.
We'll support them. You support us.
Tom, we appreciate your time as always.
We'll overlook the parking deck issue over here. You're trying to kill the Wolfpack fans and their tailgate. The evil
it's like one issue for one state fan. Let's be real. Shout out to State.
I have a feeling they're all going to be
they'll be happy.
Very happy when this is all done.
We got phase one in works yet or no?
Yeah, we've got 3 or 4 ways. I said this earlier to somebody, to me it's all about the ingress and egress and
please
tailgating.
Please.
If that gets better,
yes,
okay,
you can do whatever you want.
Tailgating's easy problem to solve. There's going to be plenty of that.
Well, Tom, appreciate it, man.
You didn't ask him about the Storm Brews.
What? I know they're always going to go up in
price.
They
up?
I lost
how much up?
I think they're up to $8.50 now.
That's it.
I think so.
That's it.
I think they're $8.50 for the game. I went to the LL Cool J show.
Yeah, how was it?
It was a hell of a lot of fun, man. That was a great show.
You're going to
Travis Scott
Dave
this week,
Chappelle?
right?
No, but I'm going to come back for Dave Chappelle.
Are you going to Chappelle?
How good is that?
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I'd like to go see Chappelle, but I believe the Storm Brew prices for non-hockey games, I want to say it was like $12,
yeah.
$13.
Normal.
It's funny how we want to make money to pay the coach and the players, and I don't pay the coach and the players. You guys are mad, but if I charge more money, you're mad. You got to pick a side.
Like me paying $5 for Storm Brew is the reason why you can't give Rod Brind'Amour
There's a whole cooler
extension.
full of free beer. You guys are just giving away beer and you're complaining about it. I'm the last person who needs to be given anything.
All right, Tom, appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.
I'll just take the mic. Again, all live here from the Beer Cave, doing our thing. we're gonna do some ads here real quick. Luke DeCock's in the hopper that we're going to talk to. We're gonna move that here in a second. You get to see Joe's rear here for a second. So hold on a second. Here's what I'm gonna do. While we're kind of going through this. Hold on, just a second. I want to tell y'all about The Broadside. The Broadside is a brand new podcast from our friends over at WUNC, North Carolina's public radio, and it's produced and hosted by Anissa Khalifa. She's won awards for this stuff, and she explores news, history, and pop culture stories rooted in the American South. And each week, the show goes beyond the headlines to explore a single topic impacting the region. From the rapid growth of dollar stores to their impact on sustainable food access and more, The Broadside is your source for Carolina news and culture stories that might not be on the front page, but definitely deserve a deeper look. So go ahead, follow and listen right now. Oh, is that Steve?
Yes.
Oh, Steve's here. Tom Dundon's right there, Steve. You can talk to him about talk to Tom about the parking decks. Anyway, go tell Steve that. I'll keep doing these reads. Anyway, go check out The Broadside every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts. Also, big thanks to State Farm. We talked about Matt Davis and the crew. Let's get back into our little two-shot action here real quick. So big thanks to State Farm.
Yep. The OGinsurance.com. Matt's got you covered. Auto, life, home, pet, you name it. Be like Troy, one of our listeners, said, hey, man, called Matt Davis. Actually called him, 919-779-8277. Save more than 40% by switching. So all you got to do is give him a shout. Say, man, I'm trying to support the OG. I'm trying to support Matt Davis.
And again, big thanks to Homefield Apparel. Check them out online at homefieldapparel.com. Use that promo code OG23 to get 15% off your order. They got great stuff coming out all the time. Every week it seems like they got something new, and we're very, very hype about that.
I do love when you get flustered, by the way. Yes. OG23, 15%. Like, you haven't been doing this for 20 years. Like, no. Why do you get flustered? I don't understand.
Because the reason why I get flustered is that this is where I remember that sometimes being the extra engineer isn't all it's cracked up to be. That's all I'm saying.
Come on, man. Give them the people what they want. Hit Brind'Amour. We'll go.
No.
Oh my God, Joe, you're still talking.
I know, he's still talking. He's
right.
still talking, and he wonders why I'm flustered. He wonders why I'm flustered because he won't stop as I'm trying to set things up.
I'm sitting here thinking, all right, great interview with Tom Dundon. Enjoyed the end of it. Good stuff. David Tepper in there. And then Joe's like, what about beer prices? Tailgating. It's like, come on, man. Let the man go. Jesus. You think he enjoyed the last 4 minutes of that?
Actually, I don't know, Luke. Maybe you should get your own podcast and find out. That's what I did.
I had one. They took it away.
All right.
Okay. These are my choice.
Okay. Anyway, where were we? Hi, Luke. News and Observer.
No, the beer that you guys are sitting in a beer cave full of beer. Stormbrew prices.
It's an ongoing recurring theme between me and Tom.
So let's. He's going to be fine, everybody. Just for the record.
So the Carolina Hurricanes. We talked about this earlier. Odds-on favorites to win the whole thing
in our lifetime. Never thought I'd see it.
This is a little unprecedented for the Canes, given that they're not a public team.
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
I mean, a lot of reasons. Yeah, I mean, they were the wise guy pick last year, so now everybody's on it. So Vegas is probably made a little bit of money last year off the wise guys, but now we'll try to collect everybody's money. It's not just that, man. Like, they have more season ticket holders than they've ever had. Like I wrote today that they actually debated cutting off season ticket sales because they sold so many and they want to leave some single game tickets out there, in part because you can make more money off those because you sell them for a little more. You don't discount them, but it's a crazy. I mean, they have this conversation about the finances in 2016, to have this conversation about being one of the two, if not the Stanley Cup favorites in 2018 when this was all sort of just starting. It's crazy, but even in 2006 going into the playoffs, they weren't the favorite. They were one of a couple teams that were pretty good. Obviously they'd earned that during the regular season, but it's just a reminder. And it kind of comes back to what this theme is with this team every April, because really there's not much to talk about with this team until April, to be honest. is you don't get that many of these chances. They come along, and you've got to make the most of them. So like the three of us talked about, when they lost to the Rangers, they were not playing with house money anymore. Yeah. And then last year, you were never going to get a better chance than to look at the other three teams in the conference semifinals and say, how do we match up with these teams, and can we win a Stanley Cup? It's never that good. I mean, maybe you get an 06 Edmonton in the finals, but like Edmonton's out, Toronto's out, Boston's out, Colorado had a terrible season. Like, you don't get chances like that. So now you enter this season as the favorite with potentially, you don't have the star players that some other teams have, but the best team. I mean, I retweeted something the other day, the Evolving Hockey guys who do some good analytical stuff on sort of replacement value. Every single player on the Hurricanes roster is above replacement value. That's like a Moneyball wet dream. Like, it does not get any better than that. So they've got a chance here, but part of what comes with that is when you have that chance, if you don't take it, it may not come along again.
Oh, hold on a second, Luke. We got to give somebody a beer. What did they need?
The black cherry white claw.
The black cherry white claw.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm actually doing an order here live.
Perfect.
On the YouTube, since we can't have people walk into the beer cave. All right. The Carolina Hurricanes are missing this thing right now. They brought people back. They made some moves. One more, but they need something else. What is it that they're missing right now?
Black cherry white claw.
Hey, man, get it how you get it.
That's what they're missing. No, I'm not sure. I think they're missing, potentially, depending on how Jesperi Kotkaniemi does this year. They're maybe missing a center at the deadline, someone to just strengthen them down the middle. Potentially a goal-scoring winger at the deadline. We'll see how Brendan Lemieux does. I mean, they need a little more sandpaper, and they kind of went out and got it. Michael Bunting's a little, can be a bit of an irritant. He got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in a preseason game, which is unlocks an achievement for sure.
That's what you want.
And I just think, they have sort of, they're kind of 95% on a lot of things. Injuries, you got to stay healthy. I mean, we saw what happened last year with Pacioretty and Svechnikov and later Teravainen. So, with the guys who are entering the last year of their contracts, Pesce, Shea, Teravainen, and some of the other stuff that's going to happen, we just don't know. It doesn't mean those guys are going to leave, but there's that uncertainty about it. I don't know that there's that one thing they're missing. But I think when they get to the deadline, they're going to have a better idea of that. And they should potentially maybe be in a position to address that. I'm not sure they need to. The thing about this group is it's been together. It's cohesive. Everybody pretty much came back from last year for the most part. It may not be the best team in the league. Sure. Could you upgrade at a position or two? Absolutely. But I'm not sure there's that glaring need, except for maybe one more centerman. I think that if you're going to pinpoint something, that would be it.
If you were in charge of Andrei Svechnikov's timetable, when would you want to see him back on the ice?
I mean, if it were up to me, like Thanksgiving, let the kid rest, man. I mean, there is no game you are going to play in October or November that is 1/10 as important as any game you're going to play in April or May. Yeah. So take whatever time you need. I mean, I'm sure he's really broken up about not going to Calgary and the West Coast road trip. Like, I'm sure it's breaking his heart. I mean, it's better than going in December to Winnipeg in December. But, take your time. Like, if you have these strength benchmarks, make him meet them. It's a long season. Take your time with this. Be smart. Obviously, you don't want the kid going stir crazy, but there's no reason at all to rush him back. Even if they open 0-4, there's no reason at all to rush him back. The bigger picture is far more important here, I think. And honestly, I know there's some fans who are, a little distraught about this. But I think most people understand that we've been in this position with this team for a couple of years now. Yeah. It's a long, boring ritual 82 games till we get to the playoffs. That's part of being a contender. Detroit's been through it. Blackhawks went through it. Penguins, it's a slog because these games, you're a good enough team where you can kind of play at 75% and your number 2 goalie and beat most teams. Teams did that to the Hurricanes for years. So it is a long slog till April with everything, including Svechnikov. I think I think they do. I think you have to take that into account.
All right. So we'll get out of here on this. Howie, Canes fan, has been, I feel this is where Joe pointing out that I get flustered in these situations sometimes gets the best of me. I should have asked Tom Dundon with Andrei Svechnikov not playing. He's not going to make this road trip, right? We're assuming he's not going to make the road trip.
Very unlikely. Yeah.
Okay. So that gives us a rare opportunity, Luke, to get Andrei Svechnikov at the State Fair.
Yeah, no, it would have been. Yeah, the state
That
fair
would have
road
been,
trip.
we should have asked Rod this yesterday. Although Rod there's no way. There's no way Rod would have been cool with that.
No.
Whatsoever. And I'm guessing Tom's also like, yeah, how can we not get him in a ball pit? That would be good. Can we not have him go down the giant slide? That would probably
I would keep him away from, I don't know if we can even in 2023 we can say carnies, but I would keep him away. I would keep him away from the, the vomit crusted rides. But like Andrei Svechnikov trying fair food, like if their website doesn't do that, they've missed a trick. Like, the scoreboard things they do with the drawings and the throwing the pens in the bottles and that stuff. If they don't do a Andrei Svechnikov tries, like you do it, Joe, what's the fair food this year? Like fried.
The one thing
ramen roll or something.
I tried my number one fair food this year is from Bulgogi, where they put the Korean barbecue inside a sushi roll on a stick and then fry
Always on a stick.
And then fry that bad boy. And it was delicious. The sauce with it was off the charts.
Now I'd like to see, honestly, we don't even need to do the crazy stuff. Let's see what Andrei Svechnikov thinks of a deep fried Snickers bar.
That might set him back. Like he
doesn't have to eat the whole thing. But let's not go crazy here.
Come on, go hard to go.
Have a bite.
Come on now.
Have a bite. Try it. Have a no thank you bite.
All right, man. I know you're doing all the hits today because it is the Canes opener. So here we are. So let's get out there and get it. All right, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. If I'd known Dundon was going to be in there and Steve and customers.
Giglio, that's eagle-eyed Joe Giglio. All right. Joe has a skill. He's like, that's a particular parking spot. That is a particular car. Let's text Tom to see if he has time to walk across the street and hang out with us.
With his new sponsor.
Right? Because shout out to Breeze Thru, who we'll talk to in a second, and go from there. So, yeah. I don't know, though, Luke. 4 in the beer cave, kind of crowded.
Oh, I didn't say at the same time. I'm just saying if he can do it, there's no reason why. I had the invite. I said, no, we'll use the fancy new camera instead.
This...
Is it a camera or a computer?
No, it's a camera.
It's a whole.
The camera looks great, Luke. But we'll close on this.
When you hear the name involved, Joe, you'll get it.
With a little inside baseball before we go. So as we were wrapping up our conversation with Tom, and Joe was making jokes about service parking and parking decks and things like that, I had referenced Steve, our big state fan in the RV lot. He's here. Guess who was literally in the Breeze Thru as Tom was walking out? Steve.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Steve did not realize that was Tom Dundon. I'm like, there was your chance, Steve.
That's your big chance.
That was your chance to convince Tom Dundon to not get rid of certain parking lots.
The really good news is for Steve and people like Steve, none of this touches any of where they park.
Yeah.
Like it's all on the other side of the stadium. So like everything between Trinity and the arena, none of that changes, which I'd like to point out here just for, I know we're dragging on long here.
It's Luke's turn to keep talking.
All right, fair. My apologies to Joe. But when NC State needed to build an indoor practice facility, they didn't have any problem digging up 200 surface parking spots. So there's a little bit of crocodile.
We got outbid on TX and Trinity for those apartments.
Yeah, how did that happen?
There was a huge.
How does that happen?
I think it was $3 million that the bid came in at.
Well, you know what? Now that they've added SMU, Stanford, and Cal, the next time Land by the Fairgrounds comes up, Randy Woodson says NC State could. He didn't flip. They gave him the money to buy Land by the Fairgrounds.
That's it. It was all for parking.
Wait, why is there an oil derrick now up here by PNC? Oh, that must be SMU money. All right.
But they put an AAU label on it, so that's all that matters.
SMU got the drilling rights to every ACC campus as part of it.
All right, Luke. We'll talk to you
guys.
Anyway, you wanna go get? Let's get Adam in here so we can do our Breeze Thru conversation with Adam as we're live from the beer cave.
Guys, greetings.
Hi, here you go, Adam. Hold on a second. Let's get that mic. Let's unmute you here.
How we doing?
Make sure. How are you doing?
We live, man. I'm good.
We
Joe.
are live on the YouTube from the beer cave.
I'm so impressed. I'm sorry for the trouble. Maybe we'll just keep you in here full time to just like grab beverages and dispense them.
I don't know what's minimum wage these days. I could probably
we can talk.
Ours.
Seriously. I got some travel hockey bills due, and I might need a side gig. I'm just saying that Junior Canes don't pay for itself, Adam.
More than happy.
All right, so let's talk about the Freeze Crew, man.
Let's do it.
All right,
What a coup.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
are
Thank you.
So the people who are the rider, what is it? The riders of the
Yes.
storm, the riders of the game.
So, hopefully a lot of people make it out to a game this year. During the intermission, this amazing feat of Canadian engineering, the Olympia comes out and resurfaces the ice. We are not sponsoring the Olympia itself. It will not be wrapped in Breeze Thru.
Okay.
It is wrapped in the branding of two of our friends and partners, R&D Brewing and Pepsi.
Okay,
cool.
Products that you can find at your neighborhood Breeze Thru convenience store.
Where was the Storm Brew? Is right over here.
Yeah,
it's
we got a bunch of Storm Brew over here. It's maybe they can't see it. It's up top behind you.
I see it, yeah.
So, but along with this, the guy or the gal, operating the Olympia, there was a rider, there was a fan who was selected to enjoy about 10 minutes or so riding the ice. So we have 2 riders every intermission, so 4 people a game. And this year they will be a part of a very exclusive club, the Breeze Thru Freeze Crew.
That's where the shirts come into play.
Yep.
So you get one of these.
Yep. Yeah. So they get a very limited edition, super soft.
It is nice.
Shirt.
It's a really nice shirt.
Yeah.
I really like this.
Yeah. We wanted to make something that people would want to wear.
I'll wear this.
Wouldn't just like
I'm glad we
go to the
exchanged
bottom of the
jerseys.
drawer.
That's kind of our attitude with the positive vibes only shirts.
Exactly.
We want to make it nice and soft.
People, myself included, love a good T-shirt.
Yeah, man.
Love a good T-shirt.
That's my entire wardrobe.
So we got a bunch of goodies for these folks that are going to be a part of the Freeze Crew, and we hope that we see them around town, rocking their Breeze Thru Freeze Crew gear.
And again, this blanket.
Yeah, that's a blanket. Those are blankets that while you're riding, you can have it on you or on your lap to keep you warm because it's very cold down there on the ice.
It's not as cold as the beer cave.
Yeah,
though.
well,
just saying.
Yeah, the fan's off now. We're good.
Yeah, it's still pretty chilly. I'll be honest.
All right, so you're officially invited to the OG tailgate.
Fantastic.
11-7.
Thank you. All right.
Canes, Sabres.
Great.
Our wings are better than your wings.
Great.
Our friends at Wings Over Raleigh will be there. Ryan Malley.
Great.
You can order your wings at wingsover.com.
Trust me, I go by Wings Over on Hillsborough Street all the time.
That's the spot. You order online, and there's free parking in the back. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. So we're having that, the OG tailgate for real.
I think that's great. Please,
for real.
Yeah. Let us know how we can help. If we need parking spaces here, if we need some libations,
transportation taken care of.
If we need some howlers,
we will need those.
We'll be happy to connect you guys.
There's nothing better than a howler and a wing.
Which is a great reminder. So, as the sponsor of the Freeze Crew, we have a certain amount of rides that we control. So we will be running some promotions for the loyal listeners of the OG and other folks who are patrons of Breeze Thru to enter to a chance to ride the Olympia and be a part of the Freeze Crew.
So very excited about that.
So keep your eyes out, and we hope to see everybody in a Breeze Thru store.
Adam, appreciate
congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks for all the help.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us out. That's what makes this fun and chaotic and different for everybody.
And we had Tom Dundon here, so hopefully you sold him a tumbler. I didn't give him one.
Yeah, I was
trying.
Yeah, we were chatting on the way out, and he had this look in his eye like, definitely the first interview I've ever done in a beer cave for sure. That's a new one.
Hey, we got to throw people curveballs, man.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Adam from Breeze Thru, as we're doing it from the Beer Cave. And as Giglio mentioned, Wings Over, check them out. Wings Over Raleigh, Wings Over Chapel Hill, Wings Over Greenville. And they are open for lunch, and they got parking and a lot of other fun stuff too. So that is key. All right, originally, we were going to give you this conversation we had with Rod Brind'Amour earlier in the program, but Tom Dundon was hanging out with us.
Usurped.
It's cool. There's a reason sometimes we record things for use because you never know when it's going to happen. So we went over to Weight Competition Center yesterday and talked to Rod.
Invisalign Arena, sir.
It's kind of like it's always Joe Robbie to me.
Okay.
It's still weight comp to me, man.
You never know when Invisalign might want to jump aboard, Joe.
Well, you know what? That's a good point because Jacob might need some Invisalign.
There you go, man.
So yes, there is a valid point that you just made. I'm
Come
not
walk
going to fault
with
you on that. So the context here is that we went over to Invisalign Arena after practice to go talk to Rod Brind'Amour. It's about an 8-minute conversation. Context here, Mike Krzyzewski, former Duke head basketball coach, 5-time national champion, showed up to talk to the team. And everybody was super hyped about that, including Rod Brind'Amour.
K in the building. Yeah. I saw that you don't look at Twitter, but it always cracks me up about how you players, they don't care about that rivalry stuff. They know that's a guy who's won 5 championships. He has good things to say, and they seem pretty hyped to talk to him.
It was amazing. You get a chance to be around people that I call greatness, really. When you've done what you've done, that's the title you get. Mm-hmm. And he, offered to come by and share some of his, wisdom. That's a slam dunk, right? So he was great, and the guys really appreciated it, and, it's a memory.
One thing that Joe and I always talk about, and Coach K has talked about, you learn that the standard is the standard, and where they're trying to get what they need to do. And the difficult part is to keep doing it. And the sense that I'm getting going into this camp is different than other camps. It's almost like you paused it in a way that you didn't want it to end, and it's like, let's get right back to it. This seems very business-like, more so than other preseasons.
Well, I would hope that they were all like that, but that's the goal. I mean, that's the idea behind it. And, you go back to talking about Coach K and how he built that program. I feel like, there's a lot of similarities in how, that he's got to the top and the standards were raised, and then he kept it there. Mm-hmm. And that's really what, we're trying to do here. And, obviously we got a ways to go to accomplish what they've achieved, but that's the goal.
Mike is probably not a hockey guy, but he said that you guys were good enough to win the whole thing. So you're a process guy. Where do those outside expectations factor into your process?
Yeah, he actually talked about that. We had a good little talk before he went with the guys, and it was great to share that because that's been his life for the last 30 years. Was they got to win every game, and but that's what you want. You want to be that team and because it actually makes you better because you know that everyone's coming after you. And it's true. Everyone played that team. I don't care what it was. That was their game. So it keeps you sharp, and it makes you a better team at the end. And that's a great way to look at it.
I don't remember you as a gambler, but did you know that you are the actual betting favorite to win?
You can't not. Everyone talks about it. I mean, I'd really put nothing in that because the year we won, we were picked 30th.
Sure.
So,
well, no, you were picked 30th by Sports Illustrated. This is the actual guys who know shit. There is some validity to this one.
Yeah, it changes. That'll change, I'm sure, week to week. But
for sure.
It goes to our other point. It means we're relevant. We're doing something right. And we got to just, obviously, it is what it is. We know we got to go out there and do it.
Speaking of it is what it is, you don't have an AHL affiliate. So I'm curious how you're going to balance the roster math going into this season.
Yeah, you've talked about it, and I'm sure with Don. And that's their issue.
I know their perspective. I'm curious your perspective.
I don't really. I lose zero sleep over it.
Okay.
Other than I hated the other day when we were talking to the kids, and you're going here, you're going there, and that wasn't great. That was not ideal for them to be split up, and that makes it tough on them. But for our group and in general, what we're doing here, and then you hope that we don't even see any of those guys. Really, we hope everyone stays healthy, and so it's not that big a deal for us.
I am curious about the process with Felix Unger-Soren, right? Youngest kid drafted. I know people were hyped to see him in camp, and people were excited about it. You don't have Svechnikov available. Yeah. So what was the thought process in keeping him here for a few games before sending him back versus just saying, hey, look, we'll get back to you later?
You're on it. I mean, there was the thought that maybe that's your guy you keep around for, a little while until Svech comes back.
That's 9 games, right?
Yeah, you had that window. Probably, we definitely beat that around. I'll just put it that way. And then, I looked at him. He just turned 18, and you kind of want to make sure it was a positive experience, which it was, and send him home with that versus what might happen when we don't really need him. So there's a lot that went into the decision. I think we made the right one.
Okay. And then with Svechnikov specifically, how do you balance? Clearly, he wants to play, but you also want him at 100%.
Yeah.
And
it's October.
And it's October.
Yeah. That's
so how do you handle that?
Well, it's I give him credit. He's worked so hard, but he's actually matured on this because I think if this would happen a couple of years ago, he'd be like, I'm playing. And now he realizes, okay, it's not quite right. I'm gonna trust what people are telling me and how I feel, because he doesn't feel exactly right. He's there. You watch him practice, but you would never know that there's something wrong with him. Like I'm like, what? Let's get him out here. But then he's like, it's not quite right, and the tests show that.
Okay.
So it's not quite right. Like, is it close? Yeah. I mean, we're talking. Like, I'm like, let's go. But he, this is good. We're making the right decision.
Okay.
You're about to be in hockey mode forever, and I get that. I'm gonna catch you here on the right day.
Maybe.
I think I got you on the right day. The biggest story in college football has been Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
And I have been arguing, he just wants to coach his kids. I think that's what he wants to do. You had a chance to play against your son in the preseason. What was that like, and would you love to coach him?
Yeah,
because you are getting ready to go coach pros.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. No, listen, if there's nothing better than watching your kids do stuff that they love. And if they're good at it, it's even better. So in the case with Skyler, I was really happy for him because I know what he's put in. Like, I've been there, and he's since a kid, and all the things that he's done to get that. And it's a preseason game, I know, but still, it was there. And now he's trying to carve out his own way and see if he can get in a real game someday. But for that night and for a preseason game, it added some.
That's cool.
Some juice to it. Yeah. Like, normally it's like, we're trying to get through them, and now it was actually fun to watch him enjoy kind of all the hard work. And so you go back to your other point about Deion. I think he's the same in the sense that his kids are good at what they're doing. Yeah. It'd be different if they were,
Jordan's kids.
Whatever. Whoever. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just saying, some of them can't handle it.
They're elite, and he's trying to help them get to the next level, and that's a different kind of story there.
I liked how you put the end of the scrum. I'm not watching tonight because I got youth as well. So, but we've talked about this. You're in a different mode here, but when you come back to this building, you're in a completely different mode there too, right?
Yeah. Well, you got kids playing.
Yeah. Well, the issue that I have now is working through some disappointment.
Oh yeah.
He's dealing with some disappointment right now. Yeah. But I'm not a coach. I'm just like, look, man, get back after the next day. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, but at every level they have that, right? It's kids have to deal with it. But I enjoy being around the kids. They love it. Mm-hmm. They're not doing it for anything, but they love doing what they're doing. They're not every 2 weeks looking at it. That's why I do it. They do it because they're passionate about it, and you can make a difference, right? Yeah. You can help a lot more at that age than I can at this age.
It's that perspective is funny. I was actually talking to Sunheim about it because Charlie's a goalie, and he was like, they lost the other day, but Charlie came off the ice happy because he's like, I had so many shots today. And you're like, oh, okay, he got action. That's what he's happy about, right?
Yeah. No, and you'd be surprised as you know what they say at those games. Like you get a different perspective. It's enjoyable to just see kids have fun, because we are a business and it's not always fun. And coaching kids is fun.
We appreciate the time as always. We'll be seeing you around.
All right. Good luck. Good luck, guys.
It's muted. Let's unmute my mic. That work? Okay.
Good call.
We're working now. All right. Everything's working now. Anyway, big thanks to Rod Brind'Amour for hanging out with us yesterday. He always makes time for us. We appreciate that. And we'll be talking to Rod a heck of a lot more because it's kind of funny. We referenced this yesterday, Joe, with some realities of, the radio show. We couldn't be certain places. Now we can.
We're mobile.
We're mobile. And if we want to go talk to Rod ahead of the season opener.
What is the buzzword, the corporate buzz? Nimble. That's the corporate buzz. We need to learn such things.
That's right. We're nimble. At some point, I'll learn all the fancy buzzwords that we need to learn. Big thanks to Butcher's Market for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. What are you chuckling about?
You're gonna have to update that subscribe graphic with Dundon in the beer cave.
In the beer cave.
Yeah. Look at these. I picked these up at Butcher's Market.
Yeah. Tumblers.
Yeah.
Those are money. I like
these. And they got a little sheath. It's got a little condom in there for the thing.
I didn't realize I needed a tumbler.
Case.
Did not realize I needed a tumbler condom.
You do.
That's news to me.
This thing's awesome, man. I love it.
All right.
They do such a great job. They have so many. They had that hangover cure thing too. That worked.
What hangover cure thing?
I'm telling you, when you go over there, I'll get next time I go over, I'll get
one
it
of
for
the
you.
shots?
Yeah, it's like a little looks like a 5-hour energy thing.
Yeah, I've seen those.
You drink it the night while you're drinking.
Oh,
and you feel a little bit better the next day. When you're 48 years old.
I'm intrigued by that.
I'll get you some more.
All right,
I'll
I'm
get you some
intrigued
to
by
try them. They have a sugar-free one too.
that.
It was delightful.
I'm sure that makes all the difference in the
For
world.
sure.
That's like me going to Chick-fil-A, getting a
Your
spicy
favorite.
chicken sandwich.
The bun.
But I
half
did
and
it.
half tea.
I did it on a multi-grain bun
Yeah.
with diet lemonade and unsweet tea,
Sure.
Joe. That's where
That's
I
the
save
key.
my calories.
You don't have to worry about
That's where I
that
save
at the
my
butcher's
calories.
market. They got the best chicken going. They got the best hot dogs going.
Mhm.
You name it. They really do have everything. Thebutchersmarkets.com.
Also, big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. They came out last week. Again, customer service is big for me. It's not just showing up, spraying, and then getting the hell out of there to go do the next job. It's ring the doorbell. Hey, are there any areas of concern, something that needs attention? Why, yes, I do. And then they go and do it. And like us, hey, man, word is bond. No
Yeah,
contracts.
you save that money. Go to bugsbite.com. Hayes Lancaster and Screw. They got all kinds of offers. They're seriously saving money is a big deal. And there is no contract because they know the work that they do. They stand behind their work, and it speaks for itself.
So let's get out of here with some Hey Joe questions.
Are you
Joe?
sure? I mean, they turned the fans off. I'm actually like I'm on a good body temperature.
It
right
actually,
now.
I
I feel like pretty good right now.
well, for one,
And I haven't even busted into any of the beer flavored beers yet.
shall we though?
I mean, we probably should. I mean, it is opening night.
Well, hold on a second. I'm gonna text Adam right now while we're doing this.
Although I feel like we should support the Howler.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I am.
How many beers are in a Howler? If
it's 32 ounces.
okay, so 2?
No.
No, 12 times 3 is 36. So
Yeah,
just a little less than
that's,
3.
That's typically what it is. That's typically what it is.
I don't need 3, Joe. You know me. I'll be asleep by the first period if that happens.
Dude, it's sleepy time for you.
Right. So let's
Right.
just maybe get a short high life in here or something.
So before we get to some of the live comments that we got,
Oh yeah.
because that's the beauty of doing live shows.
Yes.
We get
I
live
love the
comments.
live comments.
Let's actually bring up some YouTube comments from earlier in the week. We talked to Andrew Carter about what was going on with NC State and why Randy Woodson won't talk about expansion and things like that. From Brett, thank you guys for bringing up the AAU. As a Knowles fan, but more importantly, an academic supporter, I wrote our president for FSU to make a deal that would get us into the AAU. This matters for some
Look,
people.
I found your burner on YouTube.
That is not my burner. Thank you very much. From Terry, I would be stunned if NC State is not a member of the AAU. Hold on a second. I'm texting Adam to bring me a beer here in a second. Anyway, I'll be stunned if NC State is not a member of the AAU at the next opportunity. Write it down. Isn't that an absolute no-brainer? Because these are things that I've been talking about in the past. So thank you, Adam. I'm going to need this here for a second. So
holy smokes.
Anyway, whatever. This is from Julia, North Carolina
I can't
State.
do that much.
North Carolina will join UNC when both move to the SEC.
Nope.
You're not seeing that?
Big Ten.
Okay. SMU likely bribed NC State for their vote. They wrote a big check under the table.
I'd buy that. Yes.
I'd buy that. I'd buy that. And lastly, from Clark, Andrew is just trying to create a story where none exists. Boo gave the reason. The terms of the deal changed. Yeah, but what were the terms of the deal that changed? That's the point.
Look, people, there has to be a different standard for the public university. There has to be a different standard for the leader of a public university.
Yes.
This is not creating a story. This is called holding people accountable.
Mhm.
That's what this is. And it's not up, quite frankly, it's not up to Boo to be the person who answers these questions.
I agree
It's
with
up
you
to
there.
Randy Woodson to be the person who answers these questions.
Totally agree with you on that. One other one
Stop chasing boogeymen.
from Law of the Wolf podcast. You went out today with our guy, JC.
JC's so good.
He's always good.
And you know what? He loves recruiting. He's so into it. He's always been a valuable resource to me, particularly on the basketball side. JC really knows what he's talking about. I'm genuinely interested in this Jonathan Paylor, the receiver that they have from Burlington.
He's been telling me about this
And
guy.
JC has seen him since he was a freshman.
Mhm.
And great conversation with JC about Paylor and kind of what they're trying to do, what I think NIL wise. So it enlightening for me, which is always good for everyone else.
From Mark on YouTube comments, you say you don't follow recruiting, but
I
I'm in the same boat as you do.
Yeah.
How can Duke have such a better team than us this year with a lower level of recruiting they have accomplished over the past few years? They are playing with Cutcliffe's guys whose recruiting dropped off, like Tom O'Brien's the last couple of years. Riley Leonard was ranked below MJ Morris at high school. Is it better coaching or better recruits? It's strength and conditioning. That's the big thing.
That's a part of it. I believe this in you look at the top end of anything. Okay, let's use football recruiting, for example. I think in football, the top 100 kids in a class are probably will jump out on a field to you, and you'll see them run, and you'll see what they look like, weight room, or you'll see them in a drill, and you go, okay, that's what. I had this conversation with Dave Tellep back in the day with basketball.
Oh, shout out to Tellep, man.
And we were at the top 100 camp in Virginia, and I said to him, "Ooh, that guy's a player." It was Julius Randle. And he goes, "Congratulations, Joe. You figured out one of the 3 best players in the class." And I said, yeah. I go, well, but what is really the difference between number 30 and number 130?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
And I think in football, I think the difference between number 101 and 1001, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
The top end, the tippy top 5-star guys that there's 25, 30 in a class. Yeah, those guys you can tell. The rest of them, it truly is about work ethic. It truly is about who do you have in your strength programming, developing these players. It's about your position coaches and how do they work and develop the players. So Duke's success does not denigrate what NC State has done. I've explained why NC State is in the position that they're in. I think it is 2 different things to give Mike Elko and the Duke strength staffs credit for what they've done with the players that they've inherited. And if you go back and you listen to that conversation that we had with Mike Elko, and I want you to start calling them conversations, by the way, when you label these things on the YouTubes.
Not interviews?
No. We have a conversation with him.
Okay.
What he said was, we haven't been loud about what we've done in NIL, but we've added players in NIL.
I picked up on that. I thought that was a key.
Made
that was a key thing.
Moves, which I've been advocating for NC State to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, and I thought it was actually a very good point. Do we have another beer order, by the way?
What would you like?
What do you need? The which?
Rice.
The which one?
This rice.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Where is that? Is that back over here? We got ultras.
The Beast.
Oh, you just need the Beast? Oh, the natural ice? No, you're good to go.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's all right.
That's a man who knows what he wants right there.
Enjoy. All right, let's go to the live.
Joe, the chance of somebody coming in here for Natty Ice had to be 0.0.
Because Natural Light has made a comeback.
Yeah, Natty Light.
Lights.
The Natty Bows. That's
Those are making a comeback. I've seen a heck of they've gone retro can, and people are all about that.
Natural Ice.
Shout out to Eshball.
He has got a Bush Ice too. I was going to say, I haven't thought about an ice,
dude. It's been a long time.
Since 93, 94 when they came out, when it was like, these are 5%.
Yeah, remember when 5% beers were supposed to get you lit? Now you just get like an IPA at a good 6.5%, 7%. And it's done. What's the next order?
Oh, Bud
Heavy. Let's go.
Don't lose my lottery tickets.
Let's go.
No giving those away.
Bud Heavy. Let's go. All right, from Steve, who was actually up here.
Our guy? No, that's not our guy. That's
no, a different Steve. He's good seeing you again. Joe, nice to meet JG at the Beer Cave today. Yeah, he came through. So Steve was somebody in a previous life had won a free golf trip to Pinehurst number 2. Him and his dad. It was a good time.
That's cool.
Let's see, from Evan, is the Stanley Cup eligible for free refills at the Breeze Thru next summer?
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder if Adam would be cool if we just bring the Stanley Cup here and it would work out that way. Let's see. I need some Storm Brew on the screen somewhere. The Storm Brew is right over here. There's no singles that I can crack open right now, but we'll get out to that in a second. From Andy, NCAA tournament has its best teams in the end and has chaos. 64 teams gives you both. I don't know if you always get your best.
Not sure about that
at the end. Anyway, from
no,
Ed,
it's rare. That's rare. And when you think about it, Carolina 09, you know, but when a team like that does win, it is remarkable.
From Ed, I guess this is when Tom Dundon was sitting down. We were setting things up. This is hilarious. What is happening? Live podcasting. That's what's happening.
Making it work. Making
From
the dream
JJ,
work.
Nobody else is doing this. You're right.
Absolutely, JJ. Now you found my burger.
Nobody else is doing this. From Drew, how many owners would actually agree to an interview at a gas station?
That's a Breeze Thru. Okay.
It's more than a gas station.
They
all
have
right?
gas. But more.
And there was another one from JJ. I wish Dundon would teach Tepper how to own, operate a pro sports team. Again, they're boys.
I'm telling you, there might be some collaboration going on there. A little Travis Scott Drake action going on there.
Maybe. You can tell, Tom, that the culture of the Canes is infectious from interviews like this or conversations to Rod. We are new to Raleigh in the last 3 years, and now season ticket members love this team and this organization. Let's see. From Steve again. Anyone know of a billionaire to ever have a conversation at a beer cooler?
See, he used conversation. Steve knows.
From Brian, Tepper could learn a lot from this guy. Again, they're boys. They're boys like that. From LK.
But you know what's funny before you get to LK?
Yeah.
You've said, why would this guy do this? And it's like even when we challenge him, we make him look good.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is responding to what our real person concerns. Right?
Yes.
Remember last year on the trade deadline, we were talking about the trade deadline.
Yes.
When I give him a hard time about the parking deck, that these are the concerns that people have.
Yeah, he gets it.
And he also knows he's smarter than me. So when he responds to me, he is putting a good face forward for his brand as opposed to hiding somewhere. Why would Randy Woodson want to come answer why wouldn't he want to come answer a few questions? Because quite frankly, you know, these are ways to help yourself. Yeah. And we've talked about messaging. Tom, while not the most polished speaker in the history of the world, understands messaging. It's not that hard to figure out.
So it looks like LK spotted a bottle of Boone's Farm on the shelf just outside.
Outside.
Yeah, there is. Yes, because when we had the camera turned around, there is a wine selection.
Yeah, Adam's got a wine selection.
He does have a wine selection. Let's from Ken. I love the two shot as his hand reaches across. Yes, there is that. Steve was here. He's like, hey, when they built the indoor practice facility, they barely lost any spaces after they right-sized the parking spaces in that area of the field. Stop it,
okay.
Steve.
I see what you're saying,
man. Stop it. LK again. Alltel Pavilion at Walnut Creek forever. See, you still hold on to things. I still called it Hardy's Walnut Creek for the longest time, and then yes, Alltel Pavilion.
I just call it Walnut Creek.
This
Probably
is
to their chagrin.
From Timmy Ann. Dundon went to SMU. I forgot about that. Maybe he was underwriting the ACC expansion.
Him and HW.
Maybe that was
just W.
Maybe that was the case. From Justin, don't know if you've talked about it this week, but he's surprised that the ref didn't ask the crowd to be quiet while Marshall's offense was on the field on Saturday.
He did. No, he asked for music to be turned off.
I've never seen that before.
I never have either, but I do believe it is it is their right to not have music playing while they're going through their cadence and snap count and stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah. So
I know the band can't play. I had never heard the music part of it.
From Yancey, y'all drinking up in there? Is there an audience participation component? No, you can't drink with us.
You can come down and have
reasons.
no, you can't drink, but you can come down and have a t-shirt. We have a Ovies and Giglio t-shirt.
$10 if Giglio just cracks that case of lighter Coors next to him and one happens during an ad read. We do you one better. How does
I cannot handle a 32?
You want to do a 32 with a high life?
I can't handle a 30. You know this.
Come on, man.
You know this. You can. I cannot.
I mean, it's 318.
Hey, babe.
Might as well start. Thanks, Tudor. Let's see what else we got here. From let's see. From John. Good job. Missed the live shows. Will be out here to support, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, look, man. I appreciate it, John. Uneven ground. One John, FedEx driver.
Yep.
0. That's rough, man. That's rough.
I know. You gotta be careful.
Do you want to do more live shows?
I like doing live shows as long as you don't get flustered, man. Like, I don't get.
You know what it is?
Yeah, I do know what it is. You've been doing something for 20 years and you feel like it has to fit into a certain box. But if Tom Dundon wants to come here and talk to us for 30 minutes, guess what, Joe?
You know what
guess what, Joe?
You know what?
Guess what we're gonna do, Joe?
You know what I'm a big fan of?
Guess what's best for the brand, Joe?
You know what I'm a big fan of?
What?
Leaving people wanting more.
Okay.
So that's how we're going to end these things.
Perfect.
We leave you wanting more. Like, man, I want more live shows. All right, cool. Maybe we'll work towards that. We have a schedule to do. No, the reason why I'm flustered is because typically I could just roll up somewhere, hand me a microphone, and I'm good to go.
Right?
I don't do that anymore.
Work on your reps, man.
You're right. I do got to work on my reps. All right, it's going to wrap it up live from the Beer Cave. Once again, big thanks to Breeze Thru. Big thanks to Tom Dundon for hanging out with us from a beer cave. Not every owner is going to do that. And big thanks to Rod Brind'Amour for hanging out with us as well. Normal show tomorrow. We'll be recording in the morning live to tape. We'll have the podcast out earlier in the day. And, of course, 2 o'clock release on YouTube. We're sticking with that schedule. We'll see you then.